up, everyone? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. This is Eric back from spring training. Had a great time in Scottsdale in the Phoenix area, and the Giants looked great during the majority of spring training. I'm just going to say it right now. Really had a amazing spring training. They're heading back to San Francisco to play a couple of exhibition games against the Tigers, and then it's time for 2025 baseball, and we'll be here for the post-game shows and a lot more play-by-play this season as well. But let's take a look at a potential 26-man roster, a quick 26-man roster prediction, but really this is to kind of evaluate all of the players we have. I will put together what looks like is a possibility for the roster, but you never know. Obviously, the Giants have been dealing with some injuries, as always, and we just had a really bad one from a player who had a fantastic spring training. That is JERAR ENCARNACION. Fractures left hand. He was going to be the designated hitter, the primary designated hitter this year. He can also play outfield. This is bad news for the Giants to have this happen right on the verge of opening day. And this article says San Francisco Giants manager Bob Melvin said it's a shame because Encarnacion Strand, isn't it just Encarnacion? JERAR Encarnacion Strand is a different player. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm tripping right now, because I've been driving for 15 straight hours. So it's very possible that I'm tripping, but Encarnacion Strand is another player. Had earned the opportunity to get a lot of at-bats with this team heading into the 2025 season. As of Saturday, his condition is still unknown regarding the degree of his injury and how long he'll be out of action. One thing we can say is he probably will not be on the opening day roster, which is absolutely devastating. But let's just start out with the obvious guys. We already know they're going to be on this team, and it starts with the man with the plan, and that's Logan Webb. He started 5 games this spring, pitched 20 innings. He gave up just 4 earned runs. That's really good. That's a 1.77 earned run average, 22 strikeouts. He looked like himself, and that's really good because there have been years where he hasn't looked that great in spring training. So Logan Webb, Robbie Ray is going to be on. This is not necessarily my prediction for how the rotation is going to pan out. I'm just kind of going to throw him up there, but Robbie Ray is going to be on this team. I just saw him pitch a couple days back against the Royals. I know it was against the Padres, and yeah, he looked really good. He gave up 2 earned runs all spring through 4 starts, and in 14 innings, he struck out 19 guys. So just like Webb, he looks fantastic. I'm going to play a little footage that I got myself, footage that I filmed at spring training, yet MLB will still copyright claim this video. They claim the footage and say this belongs to them, then I will file a dispute and they will deny it and say, no, we disagree. That's our footage. Jordan Hicks is going to be in this rotation, and he's another guy, obviously some question marks, having converted to a starter last year, didn't quite make it through the season, but I thought Ray looked really good as, not Ray, but I thought that Hicks looked really good as well. During his start, he started 4 games this spring, and the strikeout stuff wasn't that great. He gave up a few more runs than the other 2 guys, but Hicks will be in that rotation. And then the final for sure guy in the rotation is going to be, of course, Justin Verlander, who I am having trouble finding at the moment. But Verlander is guaranteed to be in this rotation. There he is. I mean, obviously a future Hall of Famer. Nothing more needs to be said about Justin Verlander other than, is he healthy? Is he healthy? And he started 5 games. He got roughed up here and there, but he did look pretty good. I mean, he looked like a solid MLB pitcher. He didn't look like, he could have got hit harder. He got 3.34 ERA. That's fine. Like, for spring training, we can't complain about that. A 42-year-old guy in spring training. So, and that brings us to the bullpen. Obviously, Camilo Doval will be in the bullpen this year. Ryan Walker is going to be the closer this year. These 2 guys both have had experience closing. Obviously, Doval was the closer. Still got nasty stuff, but it kind of is a little bit unpredictable. So understandable. We had to send him down to AAA for a while. Understandable that he's lost the closer role, but still is going to be an important part of the bullpen. Giants are going to need a lefty. They traded away Taylor Rogers. So Eric Miller is clearly going to be in that bullpen as well. He's going to be one of our primary lefties coming out of the pen. And then, of course, Tyler Rogers is pretty much a staple out of that bullpen now for several years. He will also be on the team. So let's jump into the infield real quick, just field a few guys and see where we're at. Obviously, Matt Chapman, probably one of our best players, and obviously Adames. Just to recap those guys, both of them absolutely tore it up this spring, and they are hot right now. They're seeing the ball well, and I think that they're both going to have a great start to the 2025 season. So you got Chapman at third, Adames at short, Wade at first, and at second base right now, you got to go with Tyler Fitzgerald. Tyler Fitzgerald, after what he did last year, that streak he went on was insane. I don't think anyone expects him to go out and hit 30, 40 home runs, but he could hit 20 plus easily over a full season. So he's got that kind of pop. He just homered the other day. Big power from Fitzgerald, good defense, and I think he is in line to be the starting second baseman. So there's 4 there. Let's jump into the outfield. Unfortunately, that's where some of the injuries are going on. Right now, Mike Yastrzemski should make the team. He'll be on the opening day roster. We can say that much. Other than that, both Jung-Hoo Lee and now, unfortunately, as I said, Encarnacion are dealing with injuries, but I think Encarnacion, we're talking about a fracture. He's certainly not going to be on the opening day roster. He's going to be on the injured list, which means we're going to have to probably pick someone else who I originally was going to have not on the roster is now going to be on the roster. Elliot Ramos was an all-star last year. He didn't have an amazing spring, but he didn't have a bad spring either. He hit a home run and looked all right. So Ramos, by being an all-star last year, I think he's pretty much at least earned a spot on this roster to continue to try to prove himself that he belongs at the big league level. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what Ramos can do this year. Next question, of course, Jung-Hoo Lee. Will he be on the opening day roster or not? I think it's a question mark right now with back problems, and he hasn't played a lot lately. There's only a couple more exhibition games. He wants to be on that roster, but he may start the year on a 10-day IL, which is just absolutely devastating. So let's put him back down for now. We're going with the definites. At catcher, of course, Patrick Bailey. He's looked really good this spring. I just hope he can stay healthy and effective all year long. He kind of starts to break down in the second half. It is a long season, but now he's been in the big leagues for a while. He's been in professional baseball for a while now. So hopefully Patrick Bailey makes it through and makes it through strong. And so there you have 4 times 3 is 12, 13, 14, so it's 15. We need 11 more. And back to the top, like I was talking about, this competition for the 5th spot in the rotation. Hayden Birdsong has been pretty much unhittable this spring. He's been in competition with Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison has not looked that great, and he just got sent to minor league camp. So Kyle Harrison, essentially, we can go ahead and eliminate him. I don't think the Giants plan to put him on the opening day roster, which is kind of shocking because Kyle Harrison was the big name guy, even coming into last year. And he was supposed to be a key part of this rotation, but it looks like he's not ready yet. So right now, I think Hayden Birdsong has earned a spot. Landon Roop has also shown some great stuff, but let's be honest, it's going to be Hayden Birdsong in that 5th spot in the rotation for 2025. Obviously, Landon Roop could end up in the bullpen. I was going to say Mason Black, who's also looked amazing, but they sent Black to minor league camp a while back. But other guys in the bullpen, we have Spencer Bivens as a possibility. Randy Rodriguez is a guy who looked really good last year, and Giants, I think, plan to use him this year, and I think he's going to be in that bullpen. And you got Sean Jelly, who is kind of an up and down. I'm surprised he's still in the organization after a couple years back. I'm like, this guy, every time he comes to a game, he just sucks. Finally, last year, he started to put it together. He had some really good outings, and I think Sean Jelly is going to be in the bullpen. Why am I putting him in the infield? I think he's going to be in the bullpen as well. And okay, so we got a veteran guy I didn't even mention yet what's going on, and that's Wilmer Flores. Wilmer is going to get one more shot this year. He didn't play that great last year, and he was hurt almost all year long. Wilmer's obviously extremely important to this team when he's healthy and playing well. Clutch hitter, versatile guy. So right now, Wilmer Flores is in line to be on this 26-man roster as well. Okay, let's add a couple outfielders and a backup catcher, and we're getting close. So outfield, we got Yastrzemski, we got Ramos. Luis Matos, I think, he had an amazing winter ball league, and then this spring, he has looked amazing. He's just consistently hitting the ball hard, and I think Luis Matos is kind of a guy who was a top prospect. He's kind of falling off a little bit, and I think he's making his name known once again. A guy who has a strong possibility to be on this 26-man roster, and I'm throwing him on there. Other than that, like again, with Lee potentially out, Encarnacion definitely out, that leaves the spot for Grant McCray. And I don't know if any outfielders, any of the non-roster guys have really played well enough to get to say, hey, I want that spot. Man, not really. So the Giants haven't really played a lot of these guys much. I mean, like there's guys like Jonah Cox. There's guys like Turner Hill. There's guys who are like lower in the minor leagues, but they haven't got enough at bats in spring training to show that the Giants are really interested in putting them on the roster, other than Grant McCray. So I would say Grant McCray. I'm going to say Lee starts the year on the 10-day IL. I think Lee starts the year on the 10-day IL, and he'll be back within a couple weeks. So Grant McCray on the team. And then as for backup catcher, I think right now, is this Sam Huff? I hope so. I think that's Sam Huff. I think Sam Huff is the guy. Tom Murphy had back disc herniation almost immediately. I don't think he's played this spring. I haven't seen him. So he's not, there's no chance that Murphy's going to be on the roster. It has to be someone else. And right now, Sam Huff is the guy they've been putting out there. They do have Logan Porter, former Royal there. Max Stassi was invited to camp back earlier this offseason. He's a veteran guy. He's been around forever. And they haven't looked bad this spring, but I don't think their Giants are going to carry more than 2 catchers. Logan Porter just hit the game-winning hit against the Royals against his old team a couple days back. And Max Stassi has hit the ball well. But I feel like Sam Huff is the front runner. He used to be a pretty big prospect with the Rangers. And I think that I'd be happy to have 2 young catchers like this, because typically we'll have an older veteran backup catcher. I'm kind of excited to have a young guy like Sam Huff and just see what he can do over the course of a full season. And you know, as you know, the Giants backup catchers get lots of ABs, lots of starts. It's not like he just sits on the bench and lets Patrick Bailey do all the work. He's going to get a lot of playing time and a chance to prove himself this year. So I'm excited about that. So we need 4 more. Now, the maximum pitchers is 13. We got 5, 10, 11. So we're going to put 2 more pitchers at a maximum. Like I always looked pretty good, who had a great story, who made it up last year and pitched okay, you know, and really good at times, was Spencer Bivens. Let's go ahead and give him a spot in that bullpen. I think that he pitched well enough this spring to earn that spot. And that leaves 1 more pitcher. Now, a couple of pitchers who really impressed include Francisco Peguero. He's been electric. He has not given up a single run. And I know the Giants are keeping an eye on him. Probably he'll start the year in AAA. Lou Trevino, another guy who was impressed this spring training. I think he's got a shot to make the team. Tristan Beck, of course, is going to be somebody who the Giants might want to put in that bullpen for a long relief, and someone is on the team who can start if they need to. But Lou Trevino, being more of a veteran guy who has big league experience, I think is the front runner right now for that last bullpen spot. I'm throwing him in there. Lou Trevino, 8 appearances, a 0 ERA. He didn't give up a single run this spring. So we need 2 more offensive players, and we got a roster. So as far as a utility infielder goes, you got a couple options. Casey Schmidt, if you want to go with the hot prospect or the one-time hot prospect, 2nd-round pick back in 2020. It's kind of like boom or bust. Like, he's got to show what he can do. He came up hot, then he went cold. He got sent back down. He's looked hot at times. He's looked not so great at times. So he's kind of all over the place. Then you got someone who you kind of know who he is, and that's a very reliable fielding utility infielder who can swing the bat. And that's Brett Wisely. I think they're going with Wisely. That's just kind of my gut feeling. They're going to go with Wisely. I think most fans probably would rather have Schmidt. Schmidt's probably a little more exciting player, a little more pop, a little more of a prospect, a guy who can grow into something big. But Giants really like Brett Wisely, and I feel like he's been playing a little more. At least since I've been at spring training, I've been seeing him more in the lineup. I have hardly seen Schmidt play at all. So I'm going to go with Wisely as the last infielder. So we should have 25. And I would love to think like Jake Lamb or one of the non-roster guys have a shot to make this team, but most of them have been sent back to minor league camp, and it doesn't look like they're really in the mix right now. So they're probably just going to go with David Villar as the 26th guy as they wait for some of these guys to get back from injury. We know he's got power. He did hit 3 home runs this spring. He wasn't great other than that, but hey, hitting 3 bombs in spring training, that's fine. And he almost went deep the other day. So, I've seen him hit the ball hard, and he's been playing a lot lately. VR has been in the lineup, so it looks like the Giants plan to throw him on that roster and just see what he can do while we await for some of these guys to get back from injury and everything. So right now, I think this is what it's looking like. Obviously, you could put Lee on there and take off maybe McRae. If Lee makes the roster, I think it would look more like this. But I kind of think Lee's going to start the year on the injured list, and this is going to be the team right here. And it's an exciting team, believe it or not. It's not, the Dodgers with just superstar after superstar after superstar, but you got a good mix of veterans and young guys here, and they had a great spring, and there's some really serious superstar players that are on here, like Adames. I think Matt Chapman would qualify, obviously Logan Webb, and then you got some veteran guys who maybe past their prime like Verlander, but maybe they got one big year left in them. Robbie Ray, obviously. The rotationals looked so good this spring, and not to mention Hayden Birdsong. Who knows? Hayden Birdsong could come out of the gates hot. Is he still got rookie status? It looks like he exceeded his rookie limits last year, so he's not going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. But hey, Hayden Birdsong, maybe he's going to come out and have an amazing season, and we'll see. But I'm liking this team. That's my 26-man roster prediction. Let me know what you guys think in that comment section down below. Let's go Giants. I'll be here for the post-game shows. We're going to do, hopefully, you're going to do a test post-game show after one of these next exhibition games and test out some of the new stuff I've been working on. I can't wait to see you all here, and we'll talk to you then.